Okay, so, I've got some explaining to do. Okay, so, I had an idea for, let's just say playing through a game with a manual, kind of the way it was intended, like some other YouTube videos that people have done for, like, Pokemon and stuff. I go more in detail on, like, the actual video later on, once I get to that, but it's just, it's taking me a long time to do it, to make this, like, to make it actually, to edit it and stuff, and it's just, I don't know, because it's just really difficult on me right now, and I don't know what I could have done to make it easier, or even if it could be easier, to, like, edit down, like, a video that's probably going to end up being an hour long in the end anyway. But I don't know. This is basically an unfinished project right now. I saw something that Ethan put in the Discord saying, you know, something about how he doesn't know, like, the next project and stuff. This video is going to be what he mentioned. This is that video. This is the project that I've been working on and stuff. I feel like it's a really good video. There are some really good parts of it, and this is probably one of the best things that I've made. I feel like I've put a lot of effort into this, but it's just taking forever, and I'm starting to get to a point where I'm, like, forgetting about it now too, and, like, starting to think about going on to other stuff. So I mean, this is basically just going to be what I have finished right now. If I come back to it at some point in the future, great, amazing. I really do want to continue working on this, but it's just taking way too long to get it finished, and I really can't. I'm really getting sick of trying to just get this done. But if I don't end up coming back to it, whatever. We'll just forget it ever happened. But anyway, here goes, I guess. So there's some videos that I've seen on YouTube where people are finishing games with strategy guides the way that they are intended to be finished. I originally saw someone do this with Minecraft, with some books that was made by Mojang, and then I saw someone do a reaction video to a Pokemon version one where they used some Prima guides, and then I most recently found out that someone did the exact same thing with Sonic Adventure. And when I saw the Sonic Adventure one, I was like, well, hold on, that kind of gives me an idea. So I got up from my bed and I literally walked over here. This is the official Prima strategy guide for Sonic 06, approved by Sega. It doesn't look like it because the cover has been torn off, I guess, and I guess the same kind of goes for the back. It looks like some stupid thing about Sonic Rivals, I don't really know. But this video that you're about to see is going to be something that probably no one else is going to be willing to do. I am going to be beating Sonic 06 the way Sega intended it. Disclaimer, the gameplay footage you see in this video was captured from an emulator. I will not tell you to emulate and/or pirate any video games, especially ones that you do not own. Also, to show things from the guide easier in this video, I will be using digital scans that I got off of Sonic Retro. Sonic 06 is a video game. Everyone hates the game. It's most well known for being the game that started the Sonic the Hedgehog Dark Age. And Sega keeps trying to pretend that it never happened because they don't want to be associated with it. But Sonic 06 has a special place in my heart, for not only being one of the first video games I've played ever, the first game ever played actually being Oblivion, which I never really understood what was going on in those games.
I love dogs. Doesn't everyone? Bye.
And it was also the first ever Sonic game that I actually played. This is what introduced me to Sonic the Hedgehog. You can take that as you will. But now it's finally time for me to come back, and it's time for me to play through the game again, but this time with the help of the guide. I'm also just going to point this out right now. I'm going to pretend that I have no idea what I'm doing, and I have to rely solely on the guide to figure out what's going on. I have no idea how any of these stages play, I have no idea what any of the story is, and I have no idea what species of porcupine that this new character is. We start the game like how anybody would, by pressing the start button. You load into the first cutscene that's firing off a bunch of fireworks because they're celebrating something. I don't know, to be honest, I kind of skipped this first cutscene. We run around with a princess, but we have to stop and beat up some robots who are getting in our way. We turn around to see Eggman capturing the princess because we have to have some reason to play this game. He flies off into the distance while Sonic stands there doing literally nothing. Is he even moving? Did he die? And now you have to run around the city to find our buddy Tails.
Sonic!
Tails!
So now we have Tails, but the jump towards the first level is a little too far for us to jump over.
Sonic, there's a nice store in this town. It might help you find a way to cross the sea.
I appreciate the help, Tails, but my guide will do just fine. We gotta talk to this old guy who wants us to try on some shoes, and we have to run through some hoops. I guess, what is even the point of this mission? And just like that, we got money. Now we can go to this guy and buy the light chip, which the guide says it's worth 100 coins. Uh-oh. And we can finally light dash over to the first stage, Wave Ocean. The level starts with Sonic running really fast, going through a loop and then sliding on the water before landing onto the beach later on. Gravity finally grabs Sonic and pulls him to the earth. Oh, thank God, I thought he was gonna float off into space or something. We take the time to destroy the enemies and some of the boxes before continuing on with the level. We veer off to the left so we can grab the silver medal and we go through this loop, I guess, because that's what the guide is telling me to do. And then we jump over here and land onto this bar, which we start swinging on. We swing off at the right time so that we can land onto a higher edge that's over here. Then we jump onto the side of the lighthouse so that we can get on top and start grinding on it. But first we have to go over to the back of it and grab the silver medal. We grind on the rail and ignore the fact that there's a line of rings to the right and instead go over this way and bounce on a couple springs before we let the game play itself for a little bit. I try to go off to the side to grab the silver medal, but I'll admit it could have gone better, but the point is we got the silver medal. We take another rail, skipping some gates we would have had to pass, and the guide tells us there's a ring capsule here, so I decide to take it. We run off onto the beach to grab the checkpoint, but then we have to get back over here so that we can align ourselves with the rainbow ring that's over there. We run on the wall that's over here, and the guide tells us to use the dash panel to keep our speed up so that we don't fall off the wall. Bounce off some springs to continue through the level, and yes, I know the game is lagging, don't worry, it does that all the time. Sonic says a funny voice line.
Whoa! That's a big one!
And now we're playing as Tails. When we start, the guide tells us to run for the hint ring and then fly over to the other side. Okay, I don't know what the point of that was. Next we gotta run over here and kill this robot with a ring capsule. And then it tells me to fly from here so we can grab the silver medal. Now that we're on this island over here, we don't have time to fight any of the enemies, so we're just gonna kind of fly past them like this. And then we gotta bounce off the spring so we can activate the switch to close the gate. Okay, we're almost done with Wave Ocean and oh my god, what happened to the textures? Whatever, the guide tells us to take this left path so we can get the silver medal, and then we have to run across the docks and jump around so we can try to catch up to the egg carrier. Something that I want to mention as well is that earlier in the guide it tells you that when you get to these super speed stages, it tells you that you can increase your speed by pressing up on the left stick or jumping. Why do you increase your speed by jumping? Anyway, we keep running, grabbing a silver medal along the way, and the guide tells us to completely ignore the cave behind the robot so that we can go over here and grab another silver medal that's behind one of the rocks. We're almost done, and we run through the last loop-de-loop, which is honestly the scariest part of the entire level. But it's okay, we're fine. Things are going great, and I'm getting a little tired of explaining everything that's going on. But it'd be fair if I keep up this pace. This is gonna be an hour-long video, so let's go ahead and speed things up. Uh-oh, it looks like we didn't catch up with Eggman, so now it's time to run back to the city. The next level is blocked off by some guards, so we have to get this anti-gravity upgrade so that we can slide under this wall and rescue this girl that's on top of a roof. We reunite with Princess Celeste, but uh-oh, what's this? That's right, it's time for a boss. When you begin the battle, you have absolutely 0 rings. Race around the area picking up the gilded treasures for safety. Is that what you want to call them? Honestly though, this boss is kinda simple. It barely even takes up 2 pages of the guide. All you have to do is wait for the thing to get tired, homing attack onto the antenna that's on its head, and make it smash into a wall. Once it gets to about half health, it tries doing a bit of a different attack, but the strategy stays exactly the same. 4 hits and it's dead.
How long is this gonna go on?
Even I don't know the answer to that one, Sonic. Wait, there's a silver medal at the start of the level? Are you serious, dude? Has that been there the whole time? Oh my god, dude. The guide says to barrel through the robots and explode the crates as well, which actually worked a lot better than I thought. The guide also doesn't say anything about killing these robots, so we're just gonna go ahead and walk past them. The metal's over there? How is anyone supposed to find that? Anyway, we jump off and we go ahead and grab this silver metal that's apparently way off over here. We continue going through a loop and jumping off of some structures, and then fight some robots who are protecting a spring behind them. I seriously don't understand how you're supposed to find these. Anyway, I grab the metal, and then I look around for a while trying to figure out where the other metals are. What, don't blame me, it's not my fault there's 4 different metals on this one page. We continue the level by going through some more rocky loops and hitting this rainbow ring, which will take us to an area that has another silver metal. I honestly don't know why the guide keeps telling me to collect all of these things. And we fight some enemies working our way up the tower. The guide says to destroy the boxes that these robots are standing on to bring them down. I don't really know what the point of that was. And now the guide is like, yeah, you could climb up here by jumping on the moving platforms, or you can smash this box over here to reveal a spring because that's a lot easier to do. Fight some more robots, which will then expose these lifting platforms, which you have to go across and light dash so that you can make your way to the end level. But first we have to go in between one of these statues because of course there's another silver medal. Insert cutscene of Sonic and Elise taking a nice stroll through the Windows XP background. Now we're back in town, but hold on a second, it looks like we're being attacked. And it also looks like that porcupine I mentioned from earlier. But hold on again, he's not a porcupine, he's a hedgehog. And he's also the next boss fight. The guide says at the start of the fight to immediately hit Silver and then grab some of the rings and run away. This is another pretty simple boss, but he has a little bit of a different strategy. Silver will charge up an attack and try to hit you with it. What the guide doesn't tell you is that Silver will say, when he does. And when he is ready to attack, the guide says to run and slide into him. Alright, repeat a few times and you'll realize that you're already done. Elise gets taken again, and when we try to run after her, Silver knocks us to the floor. But right as he's about to finish us off, Amy comes to the rescue and distracts Silver. We have to get to the next action stage, but in order to do so, we have to talk to this guy who wants us to tell us who the captain is so that we can open the door. The funny thing is that the guide even tells you that it's the person who starts the mission. That made things pretty easy. We have to meet up with Tails and Knuckles at the warehouse district, but as soon as we enter, we get bombarded with robots that we have to destroy. The guide doesn't really say a whole lot about this mission other than just little tips like how all of the enemies are marked as red dots on the minimap, but that's kind of about it. Knuckles gives us a letter from Dr. Eggman telling us to meet him in his base in White Acropolis and to give him our Chaos Emerald to get Elise back. Knuckles thinks that it's a trap.
It's most definitely a trap.
But Sonic says he doesn't have much of a choice if he wants to save Elise, so we decide to go to White Acropolis. We have another fight with some robots on our way there, but it's a lot smaller than the one from before, and that's literally the only thing the guide says. But it wasn't too difficult, and now we can move on to the next level. White Acropolis starts off as a snowboarding level, and the guide tells us to try to hit some of these big jumps off of ramps, which don't end up very well. Honestly, not a whole lot happens in this level other than a few silver medals and this giant snowball that chases after you, but that's about it. Hit this big jump and go over to the next part of the level. So now we gotta head over to these boxes near the lasers because I guess there's a silver medal inside one of these. And the guide also tells us that there's some pretty cool secrets underneath these sheets of ice. When we continue on, the guide tells us to avoid all of the dash panels so that we don't run into any of the spike balls or fly off the edge. And now we're being told to run and smash into the explosive boxes to get rid of most of the enemies. Yeah, that definitely looks like most of the enemies to me. Okay, so now we gotta run and slide into the sheet of ice. I didn't know we had to slide into it. And now we meet up with Tails. Once Tails' energy peters out, he falls to his doom. Yeah, that kind of looks like falling to doom to me. Anyway, we have to avoid the spotlights and go over the lasers. The guide tells us that the next area is patrolled by only one spotlight. Yeah, that definitely looks like one to me. Keep flying around and hit a switch so we can give control back to Sonic. We gotta run over here and hit the spring and homing attack a few enemies to go over another laser. And then destroy the enemies with these explosive boxes they're next to. Now the guide is telling me to run over and hit these rocks so that we can get a silver medal on this tower. And as we're working our way up some ramps, we gotta fight some more enemies so that we have enough time to go to the sheet of ice and kick it open to hit another spring. Continue through the level, running across this wall and completely ignoring this set of enemies so that we can go straight to the goal ring. Alright, cool. Third level done. Let's keep this pace up. We run into Eggman's base and he tells us to put the Chaos Emerald on this little pedestal over here and activates his machine. We start floating up and getting teleported somewhere, and once we do, Eggman starts explaining to Elise what his plan is.
What my machine needs in order to be complete is your power.
My power?
Yes, I can finally complete my plans, now that I have the chaos.
Back with Sonic and his friends, we appear to be in some old broken down version of Eggman's lab. And look at that, we meet up with Shadow and Rouge. Shadow informs us that we've been transported to the future, and in order to get back, we need to use Chaos Control.
Speak for yourself, motherfucker!
Listen, that's not important.
Crisis City starts out exactly the same as what Acropolis does, as a snowboarding level. And just like before, aside from a few silver medals, there's not really a whole lot to this mission. But I was able to hit this jump at the end of the level to get a couple ring capsules, so that was neat. We decided to ditch the snowboard, but we can still grind on rails because of our shoes. That's literally what the guide says. It also talks about how we can choose a couple of different paths, but I'm just gonna go down the one to get the silver medal.
The whole city's on fire!
Whoa, really? I never noticed. So now we gotta destroy all these lava monsters because they're apparently guarding the spring. And we bounced around a couple times continuing on through the level. We're running up over here and the guide tells us to do a light dash over to where this rail is. Grab the one-up box that's at the edge of the building and then continue up the line of springs. And then we land onto a building that is miraculously still standing up. Yeah, it's almost like it's gonna fall at any second. Skipping ahead a little bit, we go through this giant loop-de-loop and onto the next section. So now we're in this, wind current thing, I guess? I don't freaking know. And we gotta do some risky platforming over all of this debris, but you should mostly be fine if you just take your time. And now it's time for the fourth and final section of Crisis City.
That tornado's carrying a car!
Yep, here we are with yet another super speed section. This one's a little bit trickier because sometimes the camera will turn around and face the tornado behind you, but you can correct yourself with the lines of rings on the road. If you try to avoid as much as you can, you should be able to get through it. Sonic and friends are doing some exploring around until they find a room that is occupied by a couple random people that we may or may not know. The Shadow the Hedgehog lookalike is saying something about the day of disaster and is showing Silver and his friends some of the records that he has. Silver gets handed a Chaos Emerald, and when he looks inside of it, he sees Sonic, I guess? They do some more talking, and afterwards, the Mystery Hedgehog sends Silver and his friend back into the past to stop whatever kind of calamity that happened. And then Tails says what everyone thought of this game when it first came out.
This is terrible!
Apparently, at some point, the princess got captured by Eggman and then died when his battleship exploded for some whatever reason. Later on, we meet up with Shadow and Rouge, who already seem to have a Chaos Emerald. And then Tails explains that he's received signals saying that the other emerald is coming from Flame Core. So we're off into the next level,